Pat could barely even run. And they recognized that. But the moment that the 49ers decided to switch up and say, you know what? We're going to blitz heavy. Or you know what? We're going to sit in the soft zone. All the plays went towards picking that off. And that was so frustrating about Kyle Shanahan. You have the greatest white man to ever play running back position and Christian McCaffrey. And you say,
white
you know
man
what?
runs the ball.
You know what? I am not going to give him the ball. The first 3 possessions of the third quarter. Stay with me now. Pass, 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 punt. Next one, pass, 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 punt. Next one, run, pass, pass, punt. And then when he was asked at the end of the game, why did you all get away from the run in the third quarter? And I quote, I didn't get away from the run game. You go 3 and out, and you don't have drives. So I didn't get away from it. We just didn't stay on the field. You had 3 drives before your last one to run the ball. You got a fucking away from it. The first 2, you didn't even run it all.
Go 5 again, Scott.
Go 5. All right. What you say?
Say it again, Joe. Say it again, Joe.
Pass, 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 punt, pass, 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 punt, run, pass, pass, punt.
It's a goddamn shame.
It's nuts. What makes you think in the National Football League, in the Super Bowl of that, I am going to have 2 complete drives where we don't run? And then on top of that, your offensive line is beating up the Chiefs at the point of attack. Why get away from that? And then this dickhead excuse, we just didn't stay on the field. Basically, oh man, so if those passes would have worked, we would have ran. How does that make sense? They're asking you in those freaking plays you had, those 9 plays you had, you ran one time. And before that, Christian McCaffrey is eating them up. He's eating them up. And then when you go back to the run game and you don't diversify your scheme, what happens? They start bottling him up at the line. You want to pass up too late. Chris Jones is already near you. So I don't understand Kyle Shanahan's thinking. And then the lack of accountability to just say, you know what? I tweaked it off a bit. We should have did this. We should have did that. And then don't let me get started on the overtime rules. Your players came out and said, oh, we weren't prepared. And I know some fans say, well, you know, he's human. It happens. I'm sorry. You're a professional football coach. This does not happen. You have to have people who are aware of the rules at all times. You have to have coaches who are aware of what to do in those situations. The Chiefs said, oh, yeah, we prepared for this. We prepared since the beginning of the season. Why are you not prepared? It's nuts how you can come into a game, have a great half, and then just trick off. He's been involved in 4 Super Bowls. Does anybody know what he shares in common in every one of those Super Bowls? Tricking off a goddamn
He's
lead.
blown a double-digit lead.
It's nuts. It is nuts. And I just don't understand why you would want to bring him back. Now, I get it. He took him to 3 Super Bowls. And so 3 Super Bowls is just not something you scoff at. It's insane. I mean, fans like myself wish I could have seen 3 Super Bowls with my team in it. However, at what point do you look at yourself and say, wow, I am co-signing mediocrity? This is tier 1 mediocrity. If Andy Reid takes his team to the mountaintop, Shanahan sends you a view about 20 feet below and says, wow, that's what that looks like. And then he just leaves you there. Andy Reid, meanwhile, says, you know what, here's the mountaintop. We're going to get there. He takes you there. You can't co-sign mediocrity this long. He needs to go to the hood and get his mind right, in the words of esteemed orator Curtis Jackson. Go back to the hood and get your mind right. Because right now, all you're doing with keeping Kyle Shanahan is saying, you know what? We're okay with almost doing it, but not quite finishing. Not quite finishing. He is a pull-out artist of a coach. It's nuts. It's nuts. He does not get the job done. And I'm actually angry.
I can tell.
I'm a 49ers fan. I don't give a shit about the 49ers.
You hate bad football.
It's stupid football. Watching Dan Campbell and you know what we're going to go for. I'm like, this is dumbass football. All the game of football is a leather ball and you move it forward. It's not rocket science. It's not rocket science. You run the ball, they attack the run, you throw the ball. They attack the pass, you run the ball again. Oh, time to trick them. And how is it that he knows to do that for 2 quarters, but then says, you know what? I'm going to trick it off again. It almost seems on purpose when it's just so stupid. And it's just unacceptable. I hope for his sake that he gets over it like Andy Reid did later in his career. But as of right now, I doubt it's going to happen. And the 49ers are keep doing the same thing and keep losing. It's unfortunate.
Go ahead, Dante. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I mean, he's ran off half of my notes, so I definitely agree with everything Joe was saying. But the one thing I will say is, I think a lot of the vitriol around this conversation, as bro just said, his offense runs through half of the league, and that's the frustrating part. Because when you look at Kyle Shanahan's offense, whether it's him, whether it's LaFleur, anybody that runs it, he can run the football whenever the fuck he wants to, and he will sit there and say, "No, I'm going to prove a point. I'm going to just throw the ball no matter what." Like the way that they lost that game, like you said, those first 3 drives, I sent the text to the group chat. I said he's about to do it again.
Yeah, you did.
He's about to do it again. And he sat there, and we talk about this often with these offensive geniuses where they feel like they're the smartest person in the stadium and they have to win their way. I don't give a fuck. Who cares about what traditional football says, what's working? Like you said, Christian McCaffrey, I know he had the fumble in the red zone in the beginning, but he had a really good game, and you go away from that just trying to do, essentially what you did to get you there. But at the same time, it's about situational football. And so it's really frustrating with Kyle. And as much as I want to say that, he'll have that, Andy Reid type of moment where he flips that switch, we don't know. And it may be a situation where I texted to Scott in the group chat earlier where he may end up like his pops, where like he'll have this rep until he wins one on the way out the door. Like, because we talk about Mike Shanahan as this great coach now, but he won 2 on the way out. Like, It was a lot of what ifs with Mike Shanahan. So, the apple may not fall too far from the tree, and it really may be one of those situations where, no matter how great he is, no matter how many disciples he has to go on to success in other places, he until he can get out of his own head, because you don't just blow double-digit leads in 3 fucking Super Bowls. It don't happen, bro. So like it's something that he does, and we talked about the overtime rules. The one thing that like I told Scott, I don't know about firing him, but the one thing that would have made me consider getting rid of him, you give Pamela Holmes the ball last. One thing we said leading up to this is like whoever has the ball last is gonna win this game. And you sit there and you fuck up and think it's the old overtime rules where, I can score a touchdown to win the game. No, he's going to get the ball regardless. So, if you're going to get the ball back, give him the ball first. Your defense has been stopping him. Try to hold him to a field goal, and then you go win the game. But no, you decide that, I'm going to go first. I'm going to score a touchdown. And then your quarterback turned into the game manager he is, and he got 3 instead of 7. So there we go. I'm just disappointed.
I want to take what my brother and Dante both said and kind of combine it into a double slander right here. We keep looking at Kyle Shanahan. I'm going to tell you who the real fucking victim is. And I've been saying this shit for about 2 years now. It's fucking John Lynch. Okay? I've been saying this shit. Nobody has gotten away with more murder, who has had more blood on his hands than John fucking Lynch. From day one, we've been hearing, fucking you passed on Patrick Mahomes jokes I've heard in my life the last 7 goddamn years. That nigga passed on him too. That nigga passed on him first. That nigga passed on Deshaun Watson. Where's Solomon Thomas at? I didn't even know that nigga was in the league till I watched Hard Knocks this year. How many times are we gonna let him slide? Trey fucking Lance was like, what, the 3rd pick in the draft? He passed on Micah Parsons. He passed on Justin Fields, who would have been better than him. He passed on hella niggas, and we give him so much leash. He hired Kyle Shanahan, who Kyle Shanahan is the football equivalent of Doc Rivers. That's just really what it comes down to. And if you look at the stuff we got in the chat right now, shout out my cousin Peyton. He said, my man still has the offensive scheme that runs through damn near the NFC. Okay, do you want to be – that is a 40-degree day, in the words of Stringer Bell. It is a 40-degree day. Like, niggas don't. Hold on. Let me go ahead. It's a 40
go crazy.
It does not matter. Yes, you can get through the NFC. Great for you. You're the fucking San Francisco 49ers. You have the most championships in league, or tied for league championship history. And you're the new Buffalo Bills. That's essentially who the fucking San Francisco 49ers are. They've had the same drought as the Dallas Cowboys and don't even get half the slander of the Dallas Cowboys. Granted, I know the Cowboys ain't even been in the Super Bowl. I understand that. But when you lose in the big game, you should get some shit. And when it comes to, and I'm glad you brought up Sean McVay, Ola, because look, I hate this. We need an offensive coach in today's game. Does it help? 100%. I'm not going to sit up here and act like it doesn't. But there's too many offensive coordinators who are genius offensive coordinators, or genius passing game coordinators, or quarterback coaches who become head coaches who do bozo shit. Joe, you just brought up Andy Reid. Yeah, Andy Reid is great now. Andy Reid used to be King Bozo 20 years ago. 5 NFC championship appearances and he didn't do nothing. Losing the Super Bowl. So we've seen this trend. So I just don't like that you need an offensive mind. And do I think it would be maybe a risky deal by firing Kyle Shanahan? Yeah, maybe. Because who you can replace him with? But I would not care if you did fire him. You lost 2 Super Bowls. Really 3. If you want to include the Atlanta one, even though I know he was not the head coach, he was the offensive coordinator. He keeps doing the same shit. If I blew the biggest lead in Super Bowl history, I would think, you know what? If I go there again, I'm going to run the goddamn ball. And on top of that, you have the best running back you ever had in those 3 years, the greatest white running back of all time. And you say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to keep having Brock Purdy throw. It is fucking negligence. It is everything you want to use. We're going to sit up here and blame Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is who Brock Purdy is. It's from fucking Kyle Shanahan, man. And it's just too much. The whole organization is getting away with murder, dog.
I agree, bro. And one thing I will say, this is another reason why when you don't, when you play scared, when you don't play to win, when you take your foot off the gas, that's when the bullshit happens. The same thing happened to them against New England, and the same thing happened in this game. You had the fucking special teams where the ball hits the nigga in the foot, and instead of falling on the ball, you go try to get the ball, turn it over. You had the block extra point. You had so many moments that, like, when you look at the fact that he didn't run the ball, then you go back and say, well, damn, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. It's like, it's always seemed like there's this chain of events because you didn't just say, hey, let me keep doing what got me here. Because again, his scheme, they can run the ball at will, and they've done it with every team he's ever been with. That motherfucker had Devontae Freeman running like Barry Sanders. Somebody tell me where Devontae Freeman is now. Please. like the scheme is set up for them to run the fucking football. And you have these brain farts in the biggest moments, and it just don't make sense.
That paper on this player haters, old news, money on the other line, so I'm not gonna hold you. Money on the other line, so I'm not gonna.